Hey guys. So I really value the information and the narratives that you construct for me when you write these reflections. And I read every single one of them and make notes of things that I want to be able to come back and let you know about, talk to you about, clear up some misunderstandings, and really, honestly, at the end of the day, your experience in my class and your confidence is far more important to me than how much Spanish or French you actually acquire in a given year. And so that's why these reflections as an assessment tool, right? As a tool to gather information on how you're doing in the class is so important to me. So just sit back, relax, and let's talk about some of the things that you told me. Okay? Okay, so first of all, and this is really super important, acquisition, when you acquire a language, it is very different and will feel very different than the learning that you do in other classes. Here's the thing, I can't, if we're talking about like true ability to communicate with other people, ability to read, ability to speak, I can't teach that to you, right? I really can't teach that to you. I can do some things to help you write better. That's kind of a different process than speaking and listening. I can't teach those to you. All I can do is provide you with a bunch of French and Spanish that you can understand and that you find interesting, and let your brain do what it is built to do, which is to acquire language. Okay? All I can do is speak and help you understand the message. And the thing is you won't realize that you're acquiring this language. You just will. And so I think a lot of people get really, really worried because they feel like this class is so easy, but I'm struggling in all my other classes. So, I must be doing something wrong. No, you're doing something right. It should feel like you can sit back, relax, and think about, okay, what is she talking about? Where is she talking about? What are some sensory details I noticed? What are some preferences being talked about? And one day, it's just like all of a sudden, you won't even realize that you're listening to me in Spanish or French. You just are understanding the message and having fun. And that's what we want. You won't realize that you're acquiring the language. You just will. And that's what makes Spanish and French class so magical, is that it should feel lighthearted and fun every time you come to class. And here's the thing, like, sometimes I saw some messages from people like, oh, I need to study more. Oh, I don't think, I can't do this and I can't do that. And here's the thing, you guys, you can't rush this process. You just can't. You've just got to sit back, do what I'm telling you to do, which is focus on other things that aren't the language. Okay? There's no studying you can do that's automatically going to make you speak quicker, that make you speak sooner or help you read hard texts sooner. All you can do is listen and read to messages that you understand, and through that process, you'll slowly be able to write and to speak. What you can do is you can find ways to listen to French or Spanish. I think some of the most helpful videos that you could do is search for Peppa the Pig in French and Spanish, or for the French speakers, Trotro. Spanish speakers, any sort of like kids cartoon, you can watch those, and the Spanish and the French is so easy and it's so basic that you'll be able to pick up on the language, and some of that will start to seep into your heart, right? Or you can read, and we are working on getting some digital texts, like a digital library for you guys, so that you can read independently and continue to just get more Spanish in your heart. You're not rushing the process. You're just providing yourself with that sort of immersive experience in French and Spanish. And that's how you're going to learn more language, acquire more language. Okay? So remember, we're the turtle in this race, okay? Slow and steady. What I really want you guys to know is that you will learn over time, unconsciously, and with very little effort. Okay? So things like pronunciation, spelling, grammar, accent marks, those things are happening. But it just takes a lot of time. You've just got to, I've got this watering can here because every time you listen to something, every time you read something, start listening to music in French and Spanish. Start reading the backs of cereal boxes or shampoo bottles. Like, the more you do that, you are watering your brain. And these things are happening. Okay? You just can't rush it. It will happen. It will happen unconsciously with little effort. And one day you'll just be like, oh, how do I know that? Because you watered your brain. I want to speak just a moment about grammar, okay? Grammar is not the goal of this class. Grammar is not the goal of language acquisition. It doesn't help you acquire the language. And in fact, it hinders your ability to speak with fluency. You don't want to be thinking about, am I saying this correctly when you speak? You just want to try to get your meaning across. You just try to want to get whatever you're saying across to the other person. And when you're listening, you don't want to be thinking, okay, so this is the first person, third person, plural pronoun, and when I conjugate that verb, it ends with an en, or it ends with an ent, and I don't pronounce you don't want that to be what's in your brain, which is why we don't ever talk in that way in class. You just want to say, okay, so I want to talk about them, so I'm going to say, ils aiment, they like, ils aiment la pizza avec les ananas. Ils sont complètement folles. Right? So they like pizza with pineapple. They're completely crazy. That's all you want to be worried about. You are learning grammar. You're learning it when we do listening and reading activities. But we don't ever need to talk about it explicitly. Okay? Let me give you a metaphor. Trying to learn grammar and pronunciation and spelling and accent marks in a language before you've learned the language is like trying to read music and learn music theory and you've never heard music before. Let that sink in for a second. Because here's the thing. The reason why you learn about grammar and spelling and punctuation and pronunciation and all those things in English is because you've been in the United States and hearing English and using English since you were a child. Okay? But here, we're more like a kid, and we've just got to learn how to communicate before we could ever think about any of this other stuff. Okay? So, trust me, rest assured, you are learning grammar, but you're just learning it in a really natural way. And much later on, like in French 4 and Spanish 4, we can start to talk about those things to refine the language that you have acquired into your heart. But at level 1 and level 2, it doesn't matter. Just trust that you are learning it. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, I can understand everything you're saying. I understand so much Spanish. I understand so much French, but I can't speak. And I just want you to know that's totally normal. totally normal. You might spend all of level 1 and all you'll be able to say is me siento muy feliz, or il fait soleil, il fait beau, right? Like those basic greetings and weather expressions. And that's totally normal. You will always understand much more than you are able to speak or write, produce. Okay? Normal. Don't let it stress you out. You're on the right track. And I just wanted to put this is one of your colleagues, one of your classmates, one of your peers. And I wanted to put this because this person right here gets the big picture, right? This person's not focused on grammar or pronunciation or understanding every word. This person is recognizing cognates and using those cognates to understand the big picture. Now, they also kind of figure out some of the other words around using context clues, but this person is only worried about understanding the big picture meaning, okay? This person is like seeing images in their mind. And if you can focus on doing that, then, like this person says, they're forming new pathways and learning the language faster, okay? So be this person. It's okay. Guys, use your support system to help you understand. Use cognates, pictures, gestures, context clues, and background knowledge. That is your support system. Using those things are helping you build the scaffolding that one day is going to turn into a building, right? So these support structures are going to help you build the language in your head, okay? So think of these as like scaffolding and use them. And French students, I just want you to know that it is going to move a little slower. I think some of you took Spanish last year and it came really easy to you, and now you're in French and it just feels like it's moving a little slower. And just so you know, that's normal. French is just a little slower because the pronunciation is different. You don't pronounce every letter. It uses a lot of the cognates in French are academic words. Right? So for example, to say you hate something, the word is je déteste. I detest something. So like you're having to pull more academic words to find those cognate connections. And there's just less exposure to French. Like you probably had a little bit easier time in Spanish because you live somewhere where Spanish is all around you. And there's Spanish in your brain that you might not have known that you had. But that's not the way it is in French. We have to find ways to expose ourselves to French. And also, we are moving, this goes for everybody, we are moving slower this year because we've only had 20 hours of like active doing things together in class. I did the math with some help from a student because I'm bad at math. But really only 20 hours, okay? Which is a little different than when we are having French and Spanish class 5 days a week for an hour. So it is what it is, you know, like I'm not upset about it. I'm exceedingly pleased with where everybody is. And it's just going to be a little bit slower of a year, and that's okay because we're all safe. You aren't supposed to know the Spanish or the French. I should have French there too. You aren't supposed to know the Spanish and French after every class. You just need to know the main idea and some details of what we talked about. So please don't think you have to know every word. You are not responsible for that. Also, you won't like every activity. It's really funny when I read these responses because somebody will gush over how one activity helped them learn, and then 2 reflections later, somebody's talking about how much they hate some activity and they really had to persevere through it. That's okay. We are not all the same. We are all unique people. So we have to have a variety of activities so that some people will like at least some of the like everybody will at least like some of the activities, okay? So if you don't like an activity, that's okay. Just know that it has been chosen because it will help you acquire language. It has been chosen because past students have learned tons of French by doing this activity, and I've seen it. Okay? And I know that if it happened in French class, it'll happen in Spanish class. So I will never pick an activity because I just need you to do something. Every activity is carefully chosen because it will help you learn the language. And if you don't like it, that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't like teaching every activity, but I'm doing it because I know it will help you acquire language. And guys, I just want to acknowledge that coming to school online is a huge adjustment, and it's frustrated all of us. And I know at the beginning of the year it was super frustrating. You had to use Canvas, you had to use Google, you had to use all the new things. It's okay. All right? I acknowledge that. And I just want to say that hopefully as we continue to move through the year and we get used to these new routines, everything will get a lot easier. Okay? And guys, I know some of you hate turning things in via Google in Canvas, but it's really honestly the only way for me to do it and not lose your work. And it takes a third of the time for me to grade it. So even if you hate it, I just want to say thank you for doing it that way because it's helping me on my end. And I appreciate you guys helping me out to be more efficient and more effective for you. Guys, perseverance. Ask for help. Ask for clarification. If something's going on and you don't know what's going on, put it in the chat. Hey, I don't know what's going on. Ask for help. Okay? Do not be afraid. See this guy? He's climbing a mountain. He's got his buddy to help him, okay? Be these guys. So guys, I tell you what, let's go have a great second quarter. Roll Tide. Thank you very much.